So the sales world is getting more exciting every day because of artificial intelligence. And I'm joined today with Colin Christie, and he is an entrepreneur, a global connector, an educator, and a frequent speaker on digital topics. We couldn't get a better speaker today. His current interests are focused on the recent advancements in artificial intelligence and how it is reshaping the future of work, which includes sales, education, and life in general. He's also the executive director in Manila at the chapter there, as he does a lot of collaborating with the community. He's the co-founder of Analytics and Artificial Intelligence Association in the Philippines. So he is in the Philippines, in Manila today. And then also Maxina Tong, she is in New York. She's a Vistage chair leader and an executive mentor that facilitates and guides the CEO peer advisory groups, and also a member of the global chamber there. And when I think about artificial intelligence is just absolutely fascinating, and it's programmed to tell what we already know. However, it creates new patterns and new fascination. And some people are thinking it's going to take over the world and our brains. But if we have a coherent brain and we really know how to constructively use artificial intelligence, it's just going to get more exciting, and we'll be more productive and be able to serve where we serve. So welcome, Colin. So share with us, and then we want to make this interactive. Maxine and I are going to watch the chat. We definitely want to hear your questions, and then we're going to make it interactive. So go for it.
Well, great, Connie. First of all, thanks very much. Great to see everyone here. Great to see you, Doug, and the team, and to meet some of the new folks. And as you said, we'll keep this very conversational, interactive. I will just show a half dozen slides just to kind of get the ball rolling, but definitely feel free to jump in as we go with any questions. So let me share first. Okay, so actually Connie was asking me a little bit about the Philippines. We had a wonderful chat yesterday. Really enjoyed that, Connie. And I was telling her, how diverse and interesting the Philippines is, and how wonderful the people are here, but also just the place itself. So I thought I'd just show a few snapshots so you can kind of get a little image of, what I'm talking about. This is the picture of the downtown financial district of Metro Manila. It's called Bonifacio Global City. As Doug Brunke knows, because I've known Doug for, probably pushing a couple decades. It's completely changed here over those 2 decades. When I came here, this city that I'm showing you here literally didn't exist. This was an empty field about 16 years ago. And there's now about 220 commercial buildings that have been built in literally less than 2 decades. So we've been on an absolute tear as far as modernizing and growing. And but I lived in the metro and the fast pace, but now I kind of felt like it's time to be a little bit outside. So I'm about an hour outside of the city. So this is my world. Just 1 hour drive from this, sort of concrete jungle where we live at a place called Mount McKeeling, and it's just very green and lush and, cooler weather, clear air and all. So it's pretty cool that within, literally 1 hour, you can be in a totally different environment. And the best news of all is I have 600 megabit fiber internet at my house out here in the countryside. So this is incredible. I think when I first went to the Philippines, I was lucky to get like 2 megabits, and it was on maybe half the day. So, and then where we would all probably prefer to be today is one of my favorite places to go to unwind and relax, which is one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, Boracay Beach. I highly recommend, if you're thinking about, a vacation in Asia, that you at least get a long weekend or something and swing by Boracay Beach. So anyway, I think maybe the Philippine Chamber of Commerce can, send me a thank you letter after this. So let's just jump into the topic here. And our Globinar today is on the topic of AI and ChatGPT and technology for sales success. So I'm sure now, several months into the launch of ChatGPT, this is something that we've already, probably most of us, been playing with ChatGPT and maybe some of the other AI tools. I just want to take a few minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and just talk a little bit about without getting too technical, what the technological breakthrough is that has now given us this incredible future. And that's through the evolution of artificial intelligence, but something now, an acronym you may have heard of before, but it's LLM, it stands for large language model. So ChatGPT is an application under the hood of ChatGPT is an AI engine. That engine is a large language model. And ChatGPT runs on a model that's built by a company called OpenAI, but there are several others. For example, Google now has Bard, and it runs on an LLM that they're calling Vertex. And of course, there are many others, and probably many more announcements still coming out from competing companies about LLMs. Microsoft Bing is actually the same as ChatGPT in that it's a different app. It's instructed a little bit differently, but the brain underneath is actually the OpenAI brain. And so I just wanted to explore with you today a little bit of, sort of the symphony of possibilities, what can be done in sales and how to orchestrate your success. And then we'll go live in ChatGPT, but I also want to just open your exposure to just a plethora of sales tools that are coming out. It seems like every day there's a new one. So what is this LLM and why is it such a breakthrough? AI has actually been with us, whether we've realized it or not, for more than a decade. If you use Google Maps or something like Waze that we have here to plan your trip, that's artificial intelligence. If you go and on Google search, like I just did, to find photographs of the Philippines, that's artificial intelligence. But those are different types of AI in that they are classifying information and organizing information and presenting it. What's changing now, and it's the G in GPT, in ChatGPT, is that the AI is generating information. So it's not just like taking photos and finding the right photo, or when you go on Netflix telling you, oh, you watch this movie, maybe you're interested in this other movie, where it's classifying information, but it's actually generating brand new, fresh content. And it's doing this with text, with GPT, but it's also doing it with images, with things like Midjourney and others that are, so this is the whole world of what we're calling generative AI. So this is the new step. And the way it works is it's literally like an electronic brain. It's a neural network, just like we have a network, neurons in our brain. It's built around, and the reason why it's so amazing is that it's been trained on just massive, we're talking trillions and trillions and trillions of bits of information, literally like trained on the entire web and all of Wikipedia and a large amount of books and things like this. And through that training process and through this neural network architecture, it literally has gotten to the ability to have a semantic understanding. And I think this is what kind of blows people's minds, is that we have a computer now that can semantically understand what you're saying. So, way we can semantically understand what we're each saying to each other is that over many, many, hundreds of millions or more of years, we evolved this incredible, biological computer that has 100 billion neurons and hundreds of thousands of connections between every neuron. So what computer scientists did is they said, aha, maybe that's something that we can do artificially or digitally. And they created an artificial series of neurons. And I'm not going to go into any of the technology. Don't worry about all the numbers on the screen here. But literally, when you feed the information into this artificial brain, these neurons get tuned up just the same way when you have a little toddler who's learning to speak or something, and their language tunes up. So it's literally the same process. And only make that point because to contrast this with the way computer software has been written up till this point, if you go back before the AI era, computer software was just lines of code that was just program logic. In fact, many decades ago, when I was a college student, I went to UC Berkeley in California. We had a science hall there. I actually worked there evenings and summers. It was called the Lawrence Hall of Science. And they had a computer. We're literally talking about 1980. And they had a computer program that was called ELIZA. And you could sit at a terminal, and it was like a psychologist. And you could ask questions and it would talk to you. But it wasn't reasoning. It had no semantic understanding. Literally anything you typed, it would go into its library of pre-canned phrases, and it would just find a phrase and it would give it back to you. That's not what this AI is doing. There's no like pre-canned phrases. It's literally understanding what you're asking, and then it's giving a reasoned response, just like the human brain does. So it's been called the insane reasoning ability. This is actually a clip from an article that came from Microsoft research. They said, the researchers themselves were sort of surprised. They said, one of the most remarkable features of GPT-4, that's the LLM that powers ChatGPT, is its ability to reason and understand complex concepts. It possesses advanced reasoning capabilities that enable to process and interpret information in ways that are comparable to human level reasoning. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, another paper that came out just in March from Stanford University in California said that not only that, but GPT-4 seems to have developed an understanding and the ability to understand and interpret mental states of others, what we call theory of mind. So anyone who's studied, psychology knows what this is. And it actually can pass at 90% levels tests of theory of mind. So we're dealing with something extremely powerful, and you can only imagine what GPT-5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 over the next decade are going to bring us. Okay, we're at this point already. Now, having said that, your results may vary. You might say, well, gee, I've been on ChatGPT and it gives me answers that are wrong or makes stuff up, this thing called hallucination. And fair enough, that is true. You have to be very careful. In fact, there was probably that case that hit the news the other days where there's a lawyer and a bunch of hot water because he went to GPT and had it prepare his presentation in court, and it made up a bunch of legal precedents that didn't exist. And he presented it to the judge. And the judge said, what is this? These cases don't even exist. And yeah, so it largely depends. And I know I talked to Connie about this. He's very well aware of this concept of something called prompt engineering. So it turns out it's vitally important that you pose your question in the right way, and you also give sort of context to the AI, because it can very easily misunderstand what you're asking. And so, if you think about it, is that really that much difference to human interaction? If I am pretty vague and I ask you something and I somehow, don't give the proper context, you might misunderstand and you might give me a response that, is way out of sync with what it is that I'm asking you. So it's just that as humans, we pick up on other cues. We pick up on verbal cues and body language and things like that. Of course, the AI, at least for now, doesn't have that ability. It's only seeing what you ask through the keyboard. And so you just have to be, very, very careful, I guess is what my main point is there. I think the bottom line here is there is a symphony of possibilities of what you can do with these models, and they can really be transformative in sales and decision-making and customer experience and all of that. Now, I think there's one or two slides remaining, and then we're going to dive in, more interactive. I like to explain to people that you might have only experienced ChatGPT, and if that's the case, you're missing out on like 90% of what's happening with AI. ChatGPT isn't the AI. I really want to underscore this point. ChatGPT is not the AI. It's an app that's written that uses the AI, the GPT-4 brain to work. And that GPT-4 brain has been made available to the world. OpenAI, the company, and Microsoft and the other competitors with their models have allowed software developers to access this brain. So those of you who are more technical, it's through something called an API, application program interface. So you could literally can sign up if you're a software developer and say, yeah, I want to be able to use that brain in my app as well. And so there's literally thousands of apps that are exploding onto the scene that have AI capabilities, where the companies develop the features that they want, but the thinking, the brain of it is that GPT-4 brain underneath. So you can see, and these, again, this is the concept of generative AI. This is the change that's generating information. And it could be text like ChatGPT, but you can see here, there's a whole bunch of other text-based generative AIs. It can be generating images, it can be generating sound or audio. It can be, used for games. It can be used for data analysis. It could be used for writing software code. Actually, I still do a little programming myself, and I've been blown away. I think probably now about half of the code that I write, I do myself, and the other half I just give a prompt to the AI and it writes the code for me. It can be used to generate video content. So this is the idea. So my final slide is that I think in terms of orchestrating sales success, what is my advice to you? Step number one is, identify your use case of AI, right? Because there are so many different ways it can be used, as I just showed on the previous slide. And so, let's not get too enamored with the tech and forget that actually what we're really focused on is our goals. So you need to start with alignment to your sales goals, and then find possible tools or possible ways to use the AI that align to those goals and have the ability to improve something, whether it's your productivity during the day, whether it's satisfaction of your clients, whether it's assistance with making decisions, right? And then, continue to invest in yourself. And if you have a team of people who work for you, continue to invest in them, right? With targeted training and understanding. And then lastly, some of these tools do cost money. The good news is most of them are very modestly priced, but maybe set aside when you do your next budget planning cycle, set aside a little bit of a budget to buy a collection of AI tools, or most of them are pay by the month, the software as a service type of model. Okay. So by the way, if you want to connect with me, I'm the easiest way is I'm on LinkedIn. So just my name on LinkedIn. So Connie, that hopefully was just a kind of good stimulator of what the AI is all about. I thought, if it's okay with you, what I would do next is we'll just engage with a little bit of conversation with ChatGPT, and demonstrate how, as a salesperson, you might use it. And actually, this morning I was just playing around with it. I said, hey, maybe ChatGPT can join our Globinar today. So I told it, hello, ChatGPT, you're joining me live on stage, at our Globinar on the topic of AI ChatGPT sales success. Please give our audience a warm welcome. So, let's see what it comes back with. This is live. So here, I won't read the whole thing, but it says, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed members, it's very polite of the Global Sales Roundtable. I'm thrilled to be with you here today. It talks about sales as a dynamic field that's evolving, and talks about the integration of technology and decision making, just like I was saying a moment ago. I think this is a key point. It says it's important to acknowledge that AI is not intended to replace human sales professionals, rather they are tools that enhance the skills. I want to talk about that because I know this is a very controversial thing. Oh my gosh, this thing is going to turn our brains to mush and we're all going to be out of jobs. Just so I can tell you what camp I'm in, I'm not in that camp. I'm in the very much optimistic camp. And I know this from my own personal experience. My ability in the last 6 months to get things done has dramatically increased. I've become much more productive and efficient. And I think, and you're seeing this term emerge now, a lot of people are calling their products a co-pilot, it's an AI co-pilot. And that's exactly how I like to think about it. If you imagine, flying an airplane, you've got the captain and you've got the co-pilot, and the co-pilot makes the job for the captain just that much easier. They're taking care of all the little things that have to be watched, to make sure that the plane stays in the air. But the captain is fully in charge of where that plane is going. And that's how you need to think about AI. You need to stay the captain, but the way I like to think about it, and I literally do this, Connie, I literally think that I hired a new assistant who's at my desk over here. I've got my background on, you can't see, but I have a second desk over here. And I just kind of think like, because it helps me to remember to use the AI. I said, what if I had someone that I had hired who's sitting in that chair, and every time I've got a task to do, I ask that person for help. And that's exactly how I use ChatGPT. I say, I'm working on this. And then before I spend 20 minutes on some task, I think, oh, let me just prompt. And then oftentimes what happens is I get that task done in 10 minutes instead of 20 minutes. So this is why my productivity is shot through the roof. And not only do I have this assistant, but I've on my meager budget of $20 a month for GPT Plus, I have like the most knowledgeable person I've ever met on the planet. They can talk to me about nuclear physics, or, hey, Doug, chemical engineering. Or they can talk to me about sales, or they can talk to me about raising kids, or what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. You know, it's just quite stunning. And again, as you develop your prompt engineering skills, you will get better at this. So just to speed things up today, I carried on a conversation last night with ChatGPT, just so to avoid delays, and in case there was any issue with it, I did this earlier. So I just want to show you actually the latest innovation that came out on ChatGPT. Literally just in the last few days, it became available to everybody in the world. Well, let me say those people who are subscribers. So just if you don't know, you can use ChatGPT for free, but it's using something called GPT 3.5. That's like last year's generation of the brain. And then if you want to use this year's generation of the brain, which is called GPT-4, you have to pay. It's $20 a month. And it also gives you some other tools. And the one that they just launched literally in the last few days, it's called Code Interpreter. My one criticism, I think, of OpenAI, Connie, is that this is what you get when you have a bunch of Silicon Valley tech nerds, you know, driving sales and marketing. Everything gets these ridiculous names like GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Now, how's that for a product name? What were they thinking to name it that? You know, and then a tool that helps you analyze your work, they call Code Interpreter. No. This is very poorly named. So Code Interpreter literally is a tool that allows you to upload documents and then have the AI interact with you now because it knows the content of that document. So this is a big step forward, because prior to that, if you wanted to ask about some specific information that's not, you know, generally something that the AI already knows about, then you would literally have to, this is new information. You'd literally have to sit here and copy paste or type out all the information that you want to discuss, right? And, you know, you wouldn't do that because it would take too much time. But so, for example, I found this online, this sales deck. It's a PowerPoint slide deck from a company called Lead Crunch, and it's their sales deck. And it's, 14, 15, 16 slides. Actually, I forgot to open it up, so I won't take time now. Maybe if somebody wants to see the QA, I can open it. You can see the actual slides. I meant to show you what the actual slides do, but just imagine, a typical company sales deck. And you just click this little plus button, and you can see it says upload file. And I gave it the file, and all I said was analyze this presentation. I didn't even tell it what it is. It said analyze this, and it says, oh, this document appears to be a sales deck from the company Lead Crunch, because it's literally read. I think it took like 4 seconds to come back with the response, by the way. So I gave it in 4 seconds. It read and understood the entire sales deck. So these brains work, much faster than ours. It says their product, Lead Crunch, is a predictive and personalized sales solution targeted at B2B companies. And here are the key points. So it took this 14, 15, 16 slide deck and gave me 8 summary points of what the content is of that slide deck back in 4 seconds. The slide deck talks about the power of prediction and personalization, challenges in B2B sales. Obviously, it promotes their solution, Lead Crunch. It talks about data analysis, customer targeting, pricing, and it gives me a little bit of a descriptor here, like, for example, It says case studies. It provides testimonials from happy customers and case studies demonstrating how lead crunchers help businesses increase conversion. So, oftentimes this is the way I'm already using a tool like this, is oftentimes people send me a lot of stuff, sometimes they're like 40, 50 page PDFs or big slide decks. And I don't have time, and there might be gems of information in these files. I don't have time to open these and sift through all of them, or, take in a 30 slide deck or something like that. So now I can have my co-pilot, my assistant, do, the review for me and highlight to me if there's anything that's really worth my time investing in it, right? So if I can look at this and say, oh, yeah, that's not something that's on my radar right now, I'll just file that PDF away. But if it's like, oh yeah, this sounds really good, and now I can actually interact with it. So Doug, you might be enjoying this next question. So I said, are you familiar with the organization called Global Chamber? And then, so this is a key thing here. It says, as of my last training date of September 2021. So you've probably heard this, and some people even expressed it in a negative way, although heaven knows I don't know why. They say, oh, well, ChatGPT is great, but it doesn't know anything past September 2021 because it was only trained on that information. Yes, when it first came out, that was sort of true. It is true. It's trained on data prior to 2021. But there are plugins and tools now that it can literally surf the web. So with another one of these little tools that I can click with one click, I can say, go to Google search. And if I said, Global Chamber, and it says, no, I don't know anything about it, then my next step is I could have said, okay, here's their website. I could give www.globalchamber.org, go and look at their website, and now come back and tell me what you've learned about them. And then in 7 seconds or 4 seconds, it's going to come back and say, oh, okay, yeah, I consumed everything on their website. Now I can tell you anything about them. And can you imagine, as a salesperson, for example, using this for competitor analysis, right? You can feed it the web addresses of your competitor websites, or maybe even better, your clients. So you have a new lead, you don't really know much about them, you're going to have a phone call this afternoon with them, a first intro call, and you don't have time to sit and study their website, but you want to sound intelligent about what they do. Give the web address literally in 30 seconds, in a minute, you can get all the key points about that potential prospect's business, and you can be so much more intelligent when you get on the phone with them. So it actually did give a pretty good summary. It says Global Chamber focuses on business succeeding across metros. It kind of nailed it. They have a global mindset, regional connections, local expertise, hundreds of locations around the world.
So
Don't you think,
does
Doug?
it show I still have a lot of money.
It sort of nailed it, right?
Mhm.
So now here's where I combined these things. I said, okay, these guys at Lead Crunch wrote a sales deck that's kind of a good model of what a good sales deck would look like. It's actually, a very good sales deck. So I said, okay, you know about Global Chamber. Now you know about the sales deck. Let's put 1 + 1 together and see what we get. I said, create a sales deck outline for Global Chamber based on the ideas and examples from the Lead Crunch sales deck. Okay, so now I'm not just, and this is where prompt engineering comes in, because I could have just said, oh, create a Global Chamber sales deck, and then I would get something a little bit random. It might hallucinate, it might make things up. But I've really constrained ChatGPT now, because I've said, use this model, use this wonderful model from Lead Crunch as your guide. So here we go, Doug, introduction and context, the landscape of global business, challenges in global business, what Global Chamber solution is, high impact data, deep insights and personalization, services and pricing, some case studies of Global Chamber network, the call to action, and the contact info. And I literally now could just go in probably another 15 minutes and ask, and actually build it. So I actually did take it to the next step. I said, look, I'm going to build the slides in PowerPoint. I want to use very few words. I don't want this thing to be wordy. It should include an impactful photo and a graphic that tells the story of the slide rather than words. So give me the first 3 slides. So here we go. First slide, the title should be Global Business in the Modern Era. The graphic should be an image of a global world map overlaid with network connections symbolizing global business. And the text should just say navigating the landscape of global opportunity. And then I could actually go to Midjourney now, and I could take this prompt. Midjourney is an image generating AI. And I could say, hey, Midjourney, create me a graphic that is an image of a global world map. I didn't have time, Doug, to do this last night, but I could do that in like 2 minutes. And it would generate a unique, royalty-free graphic that I could throw into that slide, right? And then the second slide, the challenge of going global. The graphic should be an image of a maze or hurdle, illustrating the complexities of expansion, and the text should be overcoming cultural, regulatory, and market barriers, right? And then the third slide, I didn't do the whole deck, I just did 3 slides. Your guide in global expansion, a compass or a lighthouse, or a bridge symbolizing connection or support, and providing connections, resources, and expertise. So this is just the start, right? So it's, again, all about how you prompt it. And the reason I'm getting such a wonderful result is I constrained ChatGPT by saying, look, use that example of this wonderful sales deck in making my sales deck. So then maybe as a next step, I said, look, I also plan to post on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Doug, I know you do that often. And I'm going to post once a day for 5 days. Make a table that shows for each day the message theme of the day and the copy to use on each of those sites. So it says, okay, day 1, and it's basically drawing from this sales deck, right? So day 1, the theme is going to be on introduction to global business. It gives me a tweet, even with hashtags, and it gives me a LinkedIn post caption. And I could probably use that same graphic that came from that slide in my social media post. And then on Facebook, it gave me something a little bit longer because, that's kind of how it goes, right? Day 2, challenges, then my tweets and my LinkedIn and Facebook posts. And then day 3, Global Chamber solutions. Day 4, maybe some success stories. Day 5, the call to action. So there's a 1-week social media marketing campaign across 3 channels that, allow you to kind of promote, what you're doing. And again, it took like 4 seconds, 5 seconds for it to generate that content for me. So you can see how much more work I can get done in a day. And then I said, well, I'm having a little bit of difficulty. I don't have that many followers on Twitter, so what can I do about that? So I said, give me 7 tips for building my followers on Twitter. So here we go. It's encouraging me to tweet regularly. Maybe you don't tweet regularly because you don't have time to create the content, but now you can literally say, I want to post for the next 14 days, twice a day. Give me those 14 or whatever number of tweets. And then, and then there's even tools where I could schedule automatic posting of those if I wanted to, engage, use hashtags everywhere. I won't go through all of that, but you get the idea. And then I said that the brain is actually able to think and understand, process information. It understands logic. It even has theory of mind. So it can actually do analytical work. So for example, I said, look, provide a SWOT for Global Chamber's value proposition for attracting members. I think probably most of us here know what a SWOT is, but in case it's new, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, threat. You've probably all been through this process. And so it gave me, a couple strengths, a couple potential weaknesses, some opportunities and some threats, again, that maybe I could work out with my team and again, this is just, a 5-second exercise. If I was willing to spend like an hour, I could really drill down and engage in a conversation and a SWOT mental exercise with this tool and maybe really get some insights about my business that maybe I've been blindsided to. We tend to not focus necessarily on our threats and weaknesses too often. So it's a good way. And then lastly, a sales letter. So Doug, I have a prospect that's very interested in membership, but seems to be very busy. Have we ever encountered this scenario? And has not been responding to my emails. So I need a compelling but short email I can send that's more likely to get a response than maybe the very, well, I won't, your emails are never boring, but maybe mine are a bit boring, So, so Doug, so it says, dear Sam or whatever, I hope this email finds you well. I understand your schedule is incredibly busy, so I'll keep this brief. Joining the Global Chamber offers unparalleled access to a global network of businesses and resources tailored to assist in your company's expansion and success. I believe this opportunity aligns perfectly with your goals. I'd be thrilled to arrange a short call, a meeting at your earliest convenience, etc. But maybe that's still a little bit dry. And maybe I know something about this person. So maybe I've met them and we've had a conversation. And maybe at one point in time, they told me, oh, they are just enamored with Stephen Colbert. They never miss a show. The guy's the funniest guy on the planet. It's just, this is someone that they really enjoy. So this is another thing about this brain. You can tell it take on personas. This is very important to understand. So you can say, okay, I know this person's a big fan of Stephen Colbert, so rewrite the email as if it was written by him, okay? Now, I think the person will get a real kick out of getting this email, if they truly were a Stephen Colbert fan, right? And probably some of you are. Hey, Sam, just imagine Stephen Colbert writing this email, except with less comedy and more business. Sadly, I can't promise any Emmy Awards, but I can promise an opportunity for global business expansion that's as exciting as a Colbert monologue. Now, I know that you're as busy as a late night show host, so here's the quick pitch. Joining the Global Chamber is like getting VIP access to an international party of businesses. It's like a network that's got more connections than my joke book has political puns. How about we chat a bit more about this? It'll be like a guest appearance on The Late Show, except instead of a live audience, it'll just be me. And instead of discussing the latest in pop culture, we'll discuss your global business growth. A fair trade, right? Shoot me a time that works for you and we'll get this conversation rolling faster than my opening monologue. Looking forward to hearing from you. And remember, as my imaginary twin, Stephen Colbert, would say, in life, the important thing is always to be yourself. Unless you can be a global chamber member, always be a global chamber member.
Colin, can I share that I was on it and I had somebody that told me the check was in the mail, and 7 days later, the check hadn't arrived. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, persona of Stephen Colbert, and it came back with, that check must have took the scenic route. And so it really is amazing how it does that. So this is so fascinating. And I'm wondering if any of our guests here today have any questions for Colin.
Yeah, so that was the end actually of this little interaction I had. And I remember you told me, Connie, about that Stephen Colbert thing. So you inspired me last night to do my example. Thank you.
That's lovely.
Yeah, maybe, like you say, you could open up for some questions. I also, let's do some questions. And then I just got a handful of sales tools that I just wanted to show you, just to kind of get the mind flowing about some of the ways you can use other than ChatGPT, right? Because like I said, this is just one app. Of course, it's a very popular one, but it's just one app of many, many apps that are now using this underlying brain.
Okay,
So questions.
Yeah, just any questions, and then also I just know that everybody's wanting to see what other AI tools might. Anybody have a question? And then I have one.
I have a question.
Yes,
Go ahead, Anita.
please.
Hi there. So a friend of mine has been using AI to connect to new people on LinkedIn, but he says he has to be careful because LinkedIn doesn't like that.
Right.
He finds it pretty good at generating conversational content so that it's kind of circumvents that. What is your opinion on that? Is it a good idea? Are you likely to get kicked off of LinkedIn? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on what tool he's using. I've actually tried one myself, and honestly, I can see why LinkedIn doesn't like it. It's a bit intrusive or sneaky. What it does is you can literally give it the name of someone you're not even connected to, but who's maybe in a similar line of business as you are. And then it will go and scrape the list of all of the connections that person is connected to and put them into a CRM automatically, and then allow you to generate LinkedIn messages, assuming you're on a plan where you're allowed to send, in mail, and then send personalized messages to that person based on their profile, and you literally can set it up in like 5 minutes. And I do know people, I've heard stories that I think are accurate, of people who've used that specific tool and they have had their accounts suspended on LinkedIn. So I think you have to be very careful. because
freedom, yeah.
there are terms of service that LinkedIn has that you can't use scraping tools and things like this. So yeah, I think, there are, to broaden the question a bit, AI, ChatGPT, the LLM models are, I think the lawyers are going to have a field day because it's opening up so many new ethical and business ethics questions and just fairness things. And, yeah, I think we just have to be hyper aware, of where those boundaries are. And if it's kind of the Wild West right now, developers can access these APIs and do all sorts of things that they probably shouldn't be doing. There's also a huge copyright infringement, battle brewing right now, because even against companies like OpenAI and Microsoft, because a lot of artists, especially artists and creative types and authors of books, and are saying, wait a minute, my book is in your brain. I didn't give you permission. You didn't pay me any royalty about this. So that's a fight, that's already brewing. But I would, for me, so everyone has to decide where they draw that line. For me, I think we should respect terms of service on sites. So if you're using LinkedIn, then be aware of what their terms of service. If you're using a tool that just smells funny, like I think this tool violates terms of service, then for me, I just wouldn't use it, because there's so many other tools that don't violate terms of service. Now, I think what will happen is these companies that are sort of fighting against the wave, and banning people for using tools and things like that, eventually going to realize that's a losing battle. It reminds me of the Napster days, back in the music sharing a couple of decades ago. And now what environment do we have? We have, Apple Music, and we have Spotify and things like that. And we have legitimate business around music sharing now. The same thing is going to happen here. These companies are going to realize it's a losing battle. If you can't beat them, join them, the old adage. And they are going to work out deals where they're going to allow access to AI tool developers, but there's going to be a path for paying for those services, and this will evolve over time, and we'll have amazing built-in AI capabilities that are legitimate. So anyway, sorry, a little bit of a long answer, but I think.
No, it's good to know. I'm not in favor of using right now precisely for those reasons. I just kind of want to confirm.
Yeah, we don't need to go there. There's so many tools that work really well. I think there was another question.
So Colin, I have one. When you said originally, you said prioritize your use case. Can you share, what does that mean?
Yeah, so here's how I do it is I think, okay, maybe one of the takeaway messages I'm trying to convey to you today is this is a co-pilot. It's like having a really high IQ assistant who occasionally makes stuff up. So watch out for that. So the very first thing that comes to mind is it can make me more, it can be a time saver for me, it can make me more productive. What I'd rather spend my day working on the things that have leverage, right? Whether it's, building your pipeline or closing deals or whatever it is you're trying to do. And then we all have all these mundane tasks that we have to do as well. And sometimes you'd be shocked if you kept a diary for a week. It's a good thing to do if you haven't ever tried it. And then just like literally every couple hours, write down what you did the prior couple hours. And then on Friday night, read your diary and you're like, oh my gosh, how much time did I spend this week was really actually productive and planned, and how much was interruptions and things that were low priority. And you might find out it's 80% unproductive and you have these 20% productive works during the week where you get all the important stuff done. So evaluate what are these unproductive things that are necessary, but somewhat unproductive for you or time consuming for you. And that would be what I would target as the first use cases. Like maybe you are doing regular social media posting, it can be very time consuming, So we're, now I could just show you literally if you spend 5 minutes, you could write all your social media posts for the week. Even if you're not using an automation tool to post them, you can actually get really sophisticated, and you can take all of those and you can use an automation tool And literally, you don't have to think about it till next Monday because it's just going to auto post for you on a schedule. But even if you're not doing that, even if you're still like manually posting, just can you imagine if you just spent 15 minutes on a Monday morning and you generated all the messaging that you wanted for the week on social media? There's a good example. It makes you very much more productive. Or if someone sends you an email, an inbound email, and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm not really quite sure how I should respond to this, just copy paste it in. And it's very important. Remember, I talked about persona. Let's just start a brand new session. This is, by the way, this is last year's Brain 3.5, the free one. This is this year's Brain 4. And then this is Code Interpreter here, where you can feed it files. But if I said, it's very important, and I always do this. This is a tip. I always do this with ChatGPT. I don't ask the question right away. I tell ChatGPT what persona to play. Like I said on the other one, you're Stephen, you're writing this as if Stephen Colbert wrote it, right? So you can say, take on the persona of an empathetic customer support person, and help me respond to this complaint email. Do you understand? Right? So because ChatGPT can be, its brain can be everything from a nuclear physicist, a rocket scientist, down to a chef, to a gardener, to a business person. You don't want to just ask a question and then kind of leave it up to the AI to decide what part of its brain is it using to answer this question. You want to narrow that brain down to a focus, right? It says, absolutely, I understand. Please share the complaint email you received, and I'll help craft a response. And you can say, here's the letter. I'm so frustrated. You shipped me the wrong item. I don't want to buy from you again. Something like that. Okay, let's see how well it does with it. I hope this message finds you well. I'm very sorry to hear about your experience you've had with your recent order. I completely understand how receiving the wrong item can cause frustration. I want to reassure you that this is not the level of service we aim to provide. We sincerely apologize. Really great opening, right? Take ownership. We greatly appreciate your business. We want to make this right. Please let us know if you prefer to resend the correct item, process a full refund, blah, 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 blah. We would like to offer you a discount on your next purchase. And obviously, you may or may not want to do that. So you may have to modify the email, or you can just tell ChatGPT, actually, I want to offer something else. And you could say, instead of a discount on the next purchase, offer them free shipping on their next order or something like that. And then in 5 seconds, it'll rewrite the email and it'll give you that offer instead, right? Again, we're truly sorry for the mix-up and everything. So can you imagine if you actually had to write that? It probably would have taken you longer than this.
I know. You know what, Colin, we're looking at the time here. We've got 12 minutes. So I think that we have one question here for Michelle, and then jump into what the AI is, what other AI tools are for sales. Is that good?
Yeah, good. Sure.
So Michelle Hawkins says, are you doing a quote seed, close quote, so it will speak in your voice?
What was the first part? I missed the first. Am I doing a what?
Are you
giving it something so that it'll speak in your voice? A paragraph, something you wrote, so that it will speak in your voice?
Oh, yeah, excellent. Hey, Michelle, excellent. Yeah, you could definitely do that. You could actually maybe just go into your sent items box in your email and just, spend a few minutes and just find a few emails that you sent in the past. And then you could just take, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails. It doesn't need that many examples. Maybe even only 3 or 4 would be enough. And you could just say, hey, I'm going to give you some of the emails I've sent recently. Here's one, here's one, here's one. Now recognize my tone of voice or my style of writing, and now write this complaint response letter using that as a guide. and yes, it'll absolutely mirror the way you normally write.
Oh, thank you for that question.
Excellent tip, Michelle.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, let me just do a quick, I'm just literally gonna show you websites because we don't have time to actually demo these products, but I'll just give you kind of a little tour, a little journey through the land of AI tools, right? So the first one is a product called Seamless AI. It's for sales prospecting. And you can see here, it helps you connect directly with your ideal customers. So you can build a pipeline, shorten your sales cycle, close more deals at scale. They have a free trial. Typically, these products are priced, let's see what this one's priced at. Typically, they'll have a free trial, and then typically they'll be priced at, where's the pricing here? Oh, well, okay, they're not disclosing their price, bad on them. By the way, typically you'll see with AI tools, the way they work is you'll pay some kind of monthly fee, and then they'll give you a certain amount of like usage credits, right? And then as you use the tool, you kind of consume these credits. And then if you run out, then you have to go back and refill them, right? But this is using AI for like basically building prospecting lists. Okay, so this is Seamless AI. And so again, the point is these are custom apps that are written, but the brain they're using is more than likely, I don't know for a fact what they're using, but typically the brain they're using is either GPT 3.5 or GPT 4. They're tapping into that API to do this. The next one is called Apollo. And this one is basically a huge prospecting list database. So these kinds of things have been around forever. Probably some of you have used these kinds of tools before. The difference now is they're building in AI to help with the targeting. And oftentimes they'll also have like automation built in where they're using the generative AI to generate the content, right? So you can see here, step one, automatic email, send, you could log a call, it could automate the process of sending a LinkedIn connect request, things like this, right? So it's like an automation funnel, but it's now using AI to help generate content and navigate the workflow. The next one is Send Spark. This is kind of cool, is, more and more people are finding that including a short video in your emails is very effective. We're kind of in this video generation now, but you might be uninclined to do it because it takes so time consuming. You take your phone and you use, your video app on your phone, and then you have to edit it and all this sort of thing. It's too time consuming, too difficult. So these are popping up like weeds, these AI tools that allow you to create videos. And actually the way they work is you can just record a few seconds of yourself, and then the AI learns how to generate your face and your voice. And then you can write a script, and then it'll generate the video with you speaking something, a sales pitch or something that you never actually recorded. And it basically just generates that, that video of you, and you can make 15, 20, 30-second little clips, and some of them even allow you to custom tailor the name of the person. So you could like upload a list of 50 prospects, Tom, Dick, Harry, Alice, Bob, and then the thing can say, hi Alice, and then the next video, hi Bob, hi Tom. It'll actually say their work because it'll auto insert, just like you used to be able to do, it looks like you can do that with emails where you can say, hi, first name, and then it's going to plug the first name in. Now it's going to plug literally their name. They're going to hear their name as if you custom recorded a video to that person. The next one is Warmbox. This is pretty cool. A lot of people have trouble doing email marketing because their email goes into spam boxes, and it's like, I just give up. I always send these campaigns out. People never end up getting them because it gets captured by the spam filters. So this is an AI that warms up the delivery algorithm to dramatically decrease the probability that your emails are going to be spam classified. And the way it works is that it will generate a bunch of emails that don't actually go to real people, but it's sent from your email box to like Gmail accounts or Outlook accounts and whatnot. and it's using AI to vary the messaging, and then basically the algorithms treat your email address as someone that's not sending spam. Now, you have to be very careful with this. You don't want to use it for too many emails a day, but maybe 20, 30 emails a day or something like that. But it's a way to automate your email process. And then just really quickly, I'll just power through these. Jasper, this is a content development one. So if you don't feel that confident with your prompt engineering skills, like I've been showing here, and you want something that's just going to help you write content in a little bit more guided way, then this is going to help you write your content using AI. Copy AI does sort of the same thing. You can see the use cases here are email marketing, writing up blogs, social media posting, and things like this. So the same thing, they already have 9 million people using the tool. This company only launched like a year ago. It helps you generate content, and it's using the GPT brain to do that. This one, Spin Rewriter. A lot of these are content ones, the same sort of thing where you can take an article that maybe you've written and then have it sort of rewrite for you. So those are all kind of very similar. This one allows you to generate slides, like PowerPoint slides. So if you're not that great at building slides, or you want to do them much faster, then basically you can just prompt for all the messaging, like I just did a little while ago for the sales deck for Global Chamber. My next step is I could take that messaging, I could go in here, and it would actually build the PowerPoint slides for me. Descript is a really cool tool for editing videos. A lot of times we shy away from editing videos because you have to be kind of complicated how to clip and put in scenes and all this sort of thing. You literally now can just record your script, and then it will understand your script, and it will suggest. It has a whole library of video clips and images and things, and it will basically build the video using B-roll or clips and images that are contextually relevant to what it is you're talking about. And you can literally build a production quality video in an hour or two. So yeah, I think, Connie, that's probably good enough. Like I showed on the slide earlier, there's literally a gazillion of these things. I'll just show that slide again. There's literally dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of these types of tools. I just encourage everyone to kind of do their own research and find tools that are going to be useful.
Wow, Colin, thank you. Oh, I am totally impressed. So thank you. So who learned something today? Go ahead and put the thumbs up if you learned something today.
Thank you.
Look at the thumbs. So just we got 2 minutes, and I just am totally impressed. Doug, do you want to close us out with 2 minutes?
I mean, guys, what do you think? I mean, this is unbelievable. Colin, you know a lot about this, and really appreciate you taking the time to share. I saw Demetris in here. Demetris, we were talking about this the other day, right? What do you think of this? This is pretty awesome, isn't it?
This is amazing. My mind is going 20 miles per minute. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, what do you think, Maxine? Is this an area where you've delved into yet?
Yes, I've been using ChatGPT to assist clean up some items, and I got some new tips on how to use it. I've been using it more or less for social media posts. So actually, I'm thinking about a script that I have for sales, and I'm gonna write it in the voice of Chris Voss. So yeah,
right.
so I got that. So thanks a lot. That's what I'm walking away with on my action list.
Okay, very cool. Philip, is this an area that you've delved into yet?
Yes, to some extent we have, and it's amazing, absolutely incredible. Will you be sending the recording, a copy of the recording to everyone?
Yeah, we'll have that, and yeah, everybody that's here or at least has registered should get it here in the next few days. So we'll get this out. So you can and Cesar, I don't know if Cesar's probably not on because it's pretty late there, but we'll get that. I'll handle that on my side on the recording part.
Thank you. Wow, what a gift you are, Colin. So thank you for everybody that joined us.
Hey,
And-
Connie.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you were going to do something today, so we didn't have time. Do you want to just carry it over to next month?
Yes, okay, August 8th at 8 o'clock Pacific time. We are going to really delve into prompt engineering. So that prompt engineering is going to teach you how to prompt ChatGPT to do what you want it to do. And that is a completely expansive. And so please go ahead, you can go in and register today on that at Global Chamber. And I did put a link in there. And just have fun with it. And what I'm leaving with today is that brilliant AI and creating better PowerPoints. So thank you. I'm just tickled pink. I don't know who's gonna sleep tonight. I don't know.
Well, it's 8 in the morning here, so I don't have to worry about that for a while.
Oh, Colin, you're lovely. So thank you for sharing. And you know what, I guess what we do is say, how do we say adios? So how do you say adios in a different language, Colin? Goodbye.
Au revoir, auf Wiedersehen,
There we go. I'll be the same. Yeah, that's a good one.
sayonara,
Yeah.
再见.
I can say magandang umaga. That's good morning in Filipino.
Thanks, everybody. Connie, thank you for
you.
pulling together. And if any of you are interested on the marketing side, on Friday, we have kind of a follow-up to some extent where we've got this sales conversation every month, and now we may end up having a marketing conversation every month as well. And so we have, and she was here earlier, Anita Rodal is going to be talking about content as you speak, what to say and what not to say. And then similarly, we have Meg Seitz, who's a writer, and she'll be talking about similar kind of things. There's a lot to say. What should you not be saying, and how do you say it succinctly? And so that it's really about talking and writing effectively on from your marketing on Friday. So join us then, and then August 8th for the next sales conversation. Connie, you're amazing.
Thank you. And I just put in the one on Friday into the chat. And so you can grab onto that and register for Friday and then for August 8th. So grab that. And with that said, thank you, thank you. So we'll see you next time. Same that time, same that channel.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank
Welcome.
you.